bao.เก็บเก่าเลยครับหรือ
Ada kali. Siap lengkap. Yang sebelah sana bau, Pak. Mantap. Oke, saya cobain lagi. Saya kira
กับเกี่ยวข้องเล็กของไอ้
ada kopi yang dari Sumatera enak artinya.
Oke, tetap di urban circuit.
Ya udah closing. Akhir kata saya Oki Julia.
Saya Obang sebagai capersnya.
Kita berdua harus pamit dari Urban Street Food.
Iya dong. Oke. Besok kerja lagi.
Udah nggak usah peduliin kamera. Kita mau kopi lagi. Ayo kopi. Bodo amat kerja.
OJK engage influencers to provide education on illegal investments. Luhut asks anti-vaccine group to take responsibility for their actions. It's Tuesday, Februari 8, 2022. Market Headlines is ready to provide you information from business and economic. And with me, Fajar Wayong, you're watching Market Headlines. And let's open up market headlines. The Central Statistics Agency noted that the manufacturing sector is the source of Indonesia's economic growth in 2021. According to Business Fields, the share of the manufacturing industry has reached 0.7%.
The Central Statistics Agency noted that the manufacturing sector is the source of Indonesia's economic growth in the fourth quarter of 2021, which amounted to 5.02%, according to Business Fields, with a share of 1.01%. Meanwhile, throughout 2021, the share of the processing industry has reached 0.7%.
Kemudian diikuti oleh Infocom yang juga 0,41% dan pertambangan 0,29%. Ya. Sedangkan sektor lainnya yang tadi tidak saya sebutkan ini memberikan sebagai sumber pertumbuhannya 1,68% gitu ya. Jadi ekonomi Indonesia di tahun 2021 yang tumbuh 3,69% itu utamanya ya berasal dari industri pengolahan ya 0,70% ya.
Margos said the processing industry, which grew 4.92%, had indeed been a support for the economy since the third quarter of 2021, which at that time grew 3.68%. In addition to the manufacturing industry, Indonesia's economy is also supported by several other sectors, namely trade with a share of 0.71%, construction 0.4%, information and communication 0.39%, and other business fields 2.51%. Meanwhile, the source of Indonesia's economic growth in the fourth quarter of 2021, which was 5.02% according to expenditure, was household consumption with a share of 1.91%. This household consumption grew 3.55% year-on-year in the fourth quarter of 2021, with the driving sector being retail sales, which grew 8.74%. And wholesale sales of cars 72.87% and motorcycles 64.79%. IDX Channel reports.
The government announced an increase in the level of mobility restrictions in Jabodetabek, Yogyakarta, Bali and Greater Bandung or PPKM to level 3. The decision to raise the restrictions to level 3 is believed by the Executive Director of CORE Indonesia, Muhammad Faisal, to have no significant impact. Faisal believes that in facing the third wave of COVID-19, the government will be better prepared to anticipate and prepare for better control. However, Faisal admits that the impact of increasing PPKM levels cannot be underestimated. The impact on growth in the first quarter of 2022 will still be there, so it won't be as high as the government expects. Previously, the government estimated that in the first quarter of 2022, the economy would be able to grow above 5%.
Kemungkinan besar di kuartal 1 2022 ini potensi untuk pertumbuhan kita masih ekspansif, saya rasa sangat besar ya, walaupun tingkat peningkatan atau tingkat ekspansinya ini tidak sebesar yang diharapkan ya. Jadi ini ada beberapa faktor tadi yang saya sebutkan yang bisa mengerem laju pemulihan ekonomi atau laju peningkatan pertumbuhan ekonomi.
The Financial Services Authority or OJK is considering an option to cooperate with influencers to educate the public to be more selective in making investments. The effort was made during the rampant occurrence of illegal investments. The Financial Services Authorities or OJK Task Force on Investment Awareness is considering an option to cooperate with influencers to educate the public to be more selective in making investments. The effort was made during the rampant occurrence of illegal investments. The chief of OJK's Task Force on Investment Awareness, Tongam Lumban Tobing, say that the public needs to have a knowledge base before making investments. One of such knowledge is to differentiate legal and illegal investment agencies. According to the law, official entities are obliged to obtain business license in the country. Meanwhile, entities that already obtain a foreign business license does not immediately mean that it has obtained a business license to operate in Indonesia. Another knowledge is to have a good understanding about investment risks to prevent people from being lured by promotions involving public figures. On another matter, Tongam also highlighted the involvement of influencers in illegal investment. In 2021, as many as 1,222 illegal futures, commodity trading and gambling websites masking as trading business have been blocked, according to the Futures Commodity Trading Supervision Agency of the Ministry of Trade. As many as 92 of the blocked websites were offering binary option trading such as Binomo, IQ Option, Olympic Trade, Quotex and other similar platforms. The agency also blocked 336 robot trading websites such as NAP89 or SmartX, Auto Trade Gold, Viroblast, DNA Pro and other similar platforms. In addition to binary option and offers of foreign exchange investment package maxed as robot trading, the blocked websites were copies of other futures trading companies that already obtained proper licenses from Bapeti and websites introducing brokers of foreign futures trading companies. IDX Channel reports. And we're moving on to global update. Emmanuel Macron has said the coming days will be crucial to de-escalating the Ukraine standoff. Meanwhile, Senegal defeated Egypt in the Africa Cup of Nations Championship match, winning the championship for the first time. More stories on today's International Minute. French President Emmanuel Macron has said the coming days will be crucial to de-escalating the Ukraine standoff after a meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin. Putin hinted that progress had been made during his first Moscow summit with a Western leader since Russian troops massed on Ukraine's border. Moscow has denied any plans to invade. However, Western powers have become increasingly concerned by the possibility of a conflict. U.S. officials said on Sunday that Russia has assembled 70% of military forces needed for a full-scale invasion. Australia has announced the reopening of its borders to vaccinated tourists and other visa holders for the first time in almost 2 years. The reopening on 21st February will be welcome news for many sectors, including international education. Australia has had some of the world's strictest border controls throughout the coronavirus pandemic. In March 2020, the government closed the borders. It barred most foreigners from entering the country and put caps on total arrivals to help combat COVID. Exercise brand Peloton is attracting big attention from the likes of Amazon and Nike, according to reports. They have been attracted by the soaring sales of Peloton's exercise bikes and treadmills during the pandemic. Sweaters have not been put off by the return to gyms post-lockdown, which has left the firm worth less than a fifth of its peak $50 billion valuation. Amazon declined to confirm or deny whether it was considering making an offer for the U.S. exercise equipment maker. Senegal defeated Egypt in the Africa Cup of Nations Championship match on Sunday, winning the Continental Championship for the first time on penalty kicks at Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé, Cameroon. Neither Senegal nor Egypt, which had previously won the Africa Cup of Nations 7 times, the most in tournament's history, were able to break through in the first 90 minutes, with Senegal looking in control for most of the game before Egypt gained strength late in the second half. IDX Channel reports. Investment Ministry targets new investment of 250 trillion rupiah in 2022. Market headlines will be right back.
Kini aplikasi mClears hadir di handphone Anda untuk memudahkan transaksi Anda. Informasi aktivitas clearing dan penjaminan tidak lagi hanya dapat diakses melalui komputer di kantor Anda, melainkan dapat diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja dalam genggaman Anda. Fitur-fitur mClears. Equity clearing dan settlement adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi kewajiban settlement anggota clearing hingga nilai alternate case settlement serta informasi gagal bayar. Risk management adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, kolateral, MKBD, portofolio harian, risk charge anggota clearing dan kombinasi, serta nilai minimum cash collateral. Derivatif adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, margin call, dan informasi clearing derivatif. Terkait pinjam-meminjam efek, terdapat fitur mengenai borrowing information dan lendable pool information, serta lending revenue dan borrowing fee. Serta menu lain yang menampilkan informasi mengenai haircut, risk charge saham, dan nilai harga penyelesaian harian dan harga penyelesaian final. Selain itu, Anda juga dapat mengakses fitur pengumuman, peraturan, dan informasi layanan KPEI pada aplikasi mClears. Download aplikasi mClears di App Store atau Google Play Store. Lakukan registrasi user Anda dengan menggunakan alamat email berdomain resmi yang sesuai dengan anggota clearing Anda. Setelah registrasi, Anda akan diberikan kode OTP di email Anda untuk verifikasi. Dan aplikasi mClears Anda siap untuk digunakan. Anda dapat mengakses seluruh menu pada aplikasi mClears dengan melakukan aktivasi berlangganan premium yang dapat dilakukan dengan memilih menu Get Premium. Download aplikasinya sekarang, lakukan registrasi, dan dapatkan kemudahan dalam genggaman tangan Anda. Kemudahan informasi KPEI dalam genggaman Anda.
Welcome back. The Food and Drug Monitoring Agency, or BPOM, released approval for the implementation of Phase 1 and 2 clinical trials on the Merah Putih vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccine is developed by researchers from Erlangga University and Biotis Pharmaceutical. Penny Lukito said the clinical trials would be carried out at Dr. Sutomo Hospital, Surabaya. The Phase 1 clinical trial would involve 90 subjects and Phase 2 will involve 405 subjects. The subjects would be divided into 3 groups to be given different doses. If deemed eligible, the clinical trials will continue to Phase 3 in April 2022. BPOM hope will issue an emergency use permit for this COVID-19 vaccine in mid-July 2022.
Tujuan pelaksanaan uji klinik atau kita sebut dengan PPUK, vaksin merah putih yang mempunyai platform inactivated virus vaksin COVID-19 inactivated virus yang dikembangkan oleh Unair Biotis dan PT Biotis Pharmaceutical Indonesia yang akan segera menjalani tahapan-tahapan uji klinik bersama dengan tentunya subjek manusia. Badan POM telah memberikan pendampingan sejak awal dari mulai penelitian dan pengembangan dari vaksin merah putih ini, dimulai dari pengembangan seed vaksinnya, pengembangan vaksin skala laboratorium.
Meantime, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment Luhut Binsar Panjaitan gave a call to groups that often tout not to vaccinate against COVID-19. Luhut says the group is also responsible for COVID-19 patients who died because they had not been vaccinated.
Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment Luhut Binsar Panjaitan has issued several calls for people who have not been vaccinated to immediately vaccinate. Most recently, he gave a call to groups that often tout not to vaccinate against COVID-19. According to Luhut, the group is also responsible for COVID-19 patients who died because they had not been vaccinated.
Sama orang-orang yang menganjurkan tidak vaksin. Dari 356 pasien meninggal dari sejak Omikron jalan, 42% itu memiliki komorbid. Saya ulangi, 42% memiliki komorbid. 44% lansia. Dan ini yang ingat, 69% belum divaksinasi lengkap. Jadi kelompok komorbid, saya mohon yang punya hipertensi, diabetik, dan komplikasi perlu mendapat perhatian. Jadi saya mohon orang-orang yang menggunakan atau dirinya untuk menganjurkan jangan vaksinasi, Anda tuh bertanggung jawab di komunitasmu kalau ada orang yang meninggal karena tidak divaksin. Jadi saya minta betul, mayoritas dari pasien dirawat berat, kritis, dan meninggal dunia adalah para lansia. Jadi saya mohon yang lansia kalau Anda belum vaksin, cepat-cepat vaksin sana.
Luhut asked community groups who have congenital disease to be more careful and disciplined in carrying out health protocols. In addition, for the elderly, he asked to immediately vaccinate to prevent fatalities if infected with COVID-19. IDX Channel report.
The Ministry of Investment is confident that it will be able to increase investment in 2022 as Indonesia is hosting the G20 presidency. Even the Investment Minister Bahlil Lahadalia is optimistic that the government will be able to attract investment of up to 250 trillion rupiah. However, his party has not detailed this investment from any sector because it is still being formulated. However, this is seen as achievable in line with the government's program of downstreaming natural resources.
Kalau investasi di Indonesia, target tahun ini kan 1.200 triliun. Kemarin 2021 900 triliun. Khusus untuk acara ini nanti kita lagi rumuskan. Tapi sektor yang kita dorong adalah sektor hilirisasi. Itu. Jadi selain prawisata perkebunan, saya pikir itu sudah terjadi dan yang menjadi fokus kita inilah hilirisasi. Di sektor apa? Batu bara untuk menuju kepada DME dan metanol. Kemudian nikel menuju kepada baterai. Kemudian koper harus ada sampai dengan minimal 70% nilai tambahnya. Ini kalau angka kasar ya, bukan angka pasti ya, dalam target kami, ini minimal 200 sampai 250 triliun. Itu bisa kita menjadikan target. Tapi detail angkanya kita lagi menyusun.
The Ministry of Industry is optimistic that the production of electric vehicles in 2025 will be able to reach 1 million units for 4 wheels or more and 3.2 million units for 2 wheels. This optimism is supported by a decade production levels of manufacturers and the support of all stakeholders.
Minister of Industry Agus Gumiwang Kartasasmita said the government projects that 2035 the production of four-wheeled electric vehicles can reach 1 billion units, while for two-wheelers it will reach 3.22 million units. This projection is based on the presence of electric vehicle manufacturers in Indonesia that are ready to start mass production. Meanwhile, the ministry also said to create an electric vehicle ecosystem in Indonesia, it is necessary to involve stakeholders from vehicle manufacturers, battery manufacturers, consumers, and also the provisions of infrastructure such as charging stations. This ecosystem is expected to be able to reduce vehicles' emissions by 4.6 million tons for four-wheeled vehicles and 1.4 million tons for two-wheeled vehicles.
Pemerintah mentargetkan produksi KBLBB pada tahun 2035 dapat mencapai 1 juta unit untuk roda 4 dan 3,22 juta unit untuk roda 2. Dengan diproduksinya kendaraan listrik, tentu kita berharap kita mampu menurunkan emisi CO2 sebesar 4,6 juta ton untuk roda 4 atau lebih dan juga 1,4 juta ton untuk roda 2.
The Ministry of Industry also explained that until now, 572 units of electric vehicle infrastructure support, namely charging stations, have been available. Then in 2025, it is projected to reach 6,318 units. And in 2030, there will be 31,859 units of charging stations for electric vehicles. IDX Channel reports.
Agung Podomoro posted 2.7 trillion rupiah sales in 2021. Right after the break, stay tuned on Market Headlines.
Women's Talk setiap Jumat pukul 12.30 hanya di IDX Channel.
Saya Prisa Samodatu membawakan program berita News Screen yang menghadirkan informasi seputar ekonomi maupun juga bisnis dari dalam negeri.
Mungkin kalau kita ingin punya suatu usaha lah gitu ya. Pertama sih cari masalah dulu, cari apa permasalahan orang, lalu kita buat solusinya, sehingga kita terus berinovasi seperti itu, sehingga ada produk-produk baru yang merupakan solusi bagi masalah yang ada di masyarakat.
You're watching Market Headlines. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement, earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,850.28. And then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,795.47. The index showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,789.52. And in short, JCI went down 0.23%. And let's see the sectoral movement. Finance went up 0.74%, technology went up 0.52%, health went down 2.42%, and basic sector went down 1.22%. And let's move to the top gainers. Bank Rakyat Indonesia went up 0.91%, BCAP went up 5.83%, BABP went up 10.99%, and Bukalapak went up 2.55% to the level of 402 rupiah. Meantime, the top losers, Bank Sentral Asia went down 0.96%, Arto went down 0.15%, Telkom went down 1.4%, and IPTV went down 4.47%. And the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar opened at the level of 14,379 rupiah, showing weakening trend towards US dollar, and it was closed at the level of 14,389. And in summary, rupiah went down 0.07%. Property issuer Agung Podomoro Land posted marketing sales of 2.7 trillion rupiah in 2021. This realization exceeded the target set by the company of 2 trillion rupiah. Property issuer Agung Podomoro Land posted marketing sales of 2.7 trillion rupiah in 2021. This realization exceeded the marketing sales target set by the company of 2 trillion rupiah. Corporate Secretary Agung Podomoro Justini Omas say that the acceleration of the development of new property projects was the key to the company's achievement in achieving marketing sales last year. Meanwhile, Agung Podomoro Land's marketing sales throughout 2021 came entirely from property sales because there is no land sale. Meanwhile, in the previous year, Agung Podomoro Land sold 280 hectares of industrial land in Karawang, so that marketing sales reached 3.5 trillion rupiah. Based on the project, Podomoro Tenjo City contributes 29% of Agung Podomoro Land's marketing sales in 2021, Podomoro Park Bandung by 22%, Podomoro City Deli Medan by 14%, furthermore, Pakubuwono Spring contributed by 8%, Bukit Podomoro Jakarta by 7%, Podomoro Golf View by 5%, and Grand Taruma Karawang by 4%. IDX Channel reports. Supported by sales of herbal products, Sido Muncul managed to record a positive performance in 2021. The company posted sales growth of 21% and net profit of 35%. Supported by sales of herbal products, last year Sido Muncul managed to record a positive performance. Sido posted sales growth of 21% and net profit of 35% throughout 2021. According to Sido Director Leonard, the sales contribution was mainly to herbal products, supplements, and health drinks. In line with the increase in sales, net profit in 2021 was recorded to increase to 1.26 trillion rupiah from the previous period of 934 billion rupiah. This increase was followed by an increase in net profit margin, which rose 3.4% to 31.4% in 2021 from 28% in 2020. Based on unaudited financial reports as of December 31, 2021, Sido resulted in an increase in sales performance to 4.02 trillion rupiah, up 20.53% from the full year 2020 period of 3.33 trillion rupiah. IDX Channel reports. And viewers, the news closes our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
pemirsa, selamat pagi. Langsung dari area studio IDX Channel Jakarta, saya Mangivera Tjong dan rekan saya Fajar Wayong hadir dalam Power Breakfast.
Ya, kami hadir setiap pagi menemani Anda dengan menyajikan informasi ekonomi, bisnis, dan pasar modal khas Power Breakfast. Dan live streaming kami bisa Anda saksikan di idxchannel.com.
Ya, dan tak lupa kami terus mengingatkan untuk tetap menerapkan protokol kesehatan selama masa pandemi ini. Tentunya agar kita terbebas dari COVID-19. Dan pemirsa, mari kita ikuti Power Breakfast selengkapnya. Ya, kita masuk ke informasi yang pertama di pagi hari ini, pemirsa, di mana pemerintah melaporkan tambahan kasus COVID-19 pada hari Minggu lalu sebanyak 36.050